We know who the Astros are facing. We're going to get Brandon Warne from Locked On Twins Instant Reaction, a special co-host, Jeff Michael. And we're going to talk about this documentary on PBS about the Houston Astros. You may have heard of it. Let's talk about this on this special edition of Locked On Astros.
Welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on Twitter at Eric Talks Stros. Find the show at Locked On Astros. Your team every day. Brett, where can you find you at?
They can find me at H-Town Wheelhouse on Twitter, Instagram, and X. They can find me at Stros411 on Twitter, Instagram, X, and Facebook. Always positive, always Stros.
All right, we got somebody who's probably really excited. This is the first time the Twins have been actually winning some games in 18 years. 2002, I believe, is the last time they won a game in the playoffs. So we have Brandon Warne from the Locked On Minnesota Twins podcast. How are you doing, sir?
Oh, just great. It's a long time coming now. I was a first-year college student the last time the Twins won a playoff game, and a junior in high school the last time the Twins won a playoff series. So as you can tell by looking at my visage, I'm definitely not 18 or 16 years old anymore.
Yeah, I think we're all in the same category here.
Yeah.
And guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to us. Go ahead and become an everydayer. Somebody listens to our podcast every day, and make us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Go and check us out. And if you want to listen to, I think they're called the Twins Talk or something, you can always check out Brandon Warne down there as well. He does a great job down there. And guys, if you want to do some great fantasy baseball, why don't you swing for the fences on sleeper picks, and you can win up to 100 times your money. Download the sleeper app and use the promo code Locked On, and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 30 states. Check out our sleeper today. So we may do a full preview show tomorrow, but we wanted to kind of just get you on for a little bit and just see how is Minnesota reacting to this, and what are y'all's initial thoughts about facing the world champion Houston Astros?
Well, first of all, it's jubilation. It's hard to overstate how much it means to a fan base where, I mean, the youngest fans that are at the game were either babies or not even alive when the Twins won a playoff game last. So Twins fans are excited. I still don't know that they're ready to rip off the Band-Aid of being like actually optimistic. But at the same time, too, they were prepared mentally to face the Astros in the first round, and it didn't happen. So it's not as though I think the Twins view the Astros as some insurmountable force. But when I kind of look at the matchup, the teams seem to have contrasting strengths and maybe, I won't say weaknesses, but spots where they're not as strong. And so I'm eager to see what it's going to look like, because I think people have maybe slept on the Twins this year because, you know, there's only a 3-win difference between the Twins and the Astros. And the way people talked about the Twins all season, you'd have thought they won the division with 79 wins or something.
No, yeah, definitely. And with Carlos Correa on your team, he was a number 1 overall draft pick with us, won the 2017 World Series. It was painful for a lot of fans to see him go, but he's leading a team. He's basically the leader in this clubhouse, and he is the tone setter. How key do you think that is for them coming into a series? Because he is A, familiar with the ballpark, and B, he knows the guys on the other side of the diamond.
And he's been there before in terms of that series, that pressure, that everything you could want. When I think about Carlos Correa, I can't think of a player I'd want to have Royce Lewis playing next to almost every day than him. And he made 2 absolutely phenomenal plays this series. Both were not ones you would expect. They didn't really show like a shortstop's athleticism. They showed a shortstop's mental acumen, and it was a ball that kicked off Jorge Polanco at third, and he threw the runner out at the plate. But then they had basically it was like a pick play that they ran at second base where they got Vladimir Guerrero out as the trail runner. But those two plays were absolutely huge to the Twins winning this series. They gave up 1 run all series, and they made defensive plays when they had to, and Carlos Correa was at the forefront of it all.
Yeah, so I think I said 2002 is actually 2004 when they last won a playoff game. It's 19 years though. So this is got to I was watching the game. I was at Outback and I was watching it. And as a Carlos Correa used to play for the Astros. So we know what type of playoff experience this guy has, the type of heart he has. And I know that him coming back to Houston, there's going to be a lot of memories. There's going to be a lot of the we can't hear you and it's my time type thing. So we know his moxie and we know what he can offer. We've seen Dallas Keuchel at his best in the playoffs, and we have Christian Vasquez last year in the playoffs. But besides Royce Lewis, is there anybody else in the Twins roster that you think is going to have a coming out party?
Maybe Edouard Julien at the top of the order. He just works pitchers so well. He won't start against the Astros the day Fromber starts, whenever that is. He's not much of a lefty guy. But if there was going to be like that Randy Arozarena breakout type,
right,
or even is it Evan Carter with the Rangers, who's been just incredible? If you're going to have a breakout like that, where it's really going to put someone on the national landscape who isn't already, I keep coming back to Julien. He gives them such a complete plate appearance every single time, and especially starting off games as a rookie leading off. Like, you really have to trust a hitter to put that level of stress on them, not only in the regular season but the postseason. So if it was anybody on this roster, yeah, Edouard Julien for sure.
Now, Brandon, you and I have talked before. You've been on the show before, and I appreciate your baseball knowledge and really knowing and understanding your opponent. So I'm going to play a quick video for you, and I need to get your instant reaction to this to see what you think.
Houston! We want 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 Houston!
This is actual footage after the Twins sweeping the Blue Jays in Minnesota. Brandon, what do you have to say for this?
These people know how to read a schedule. I don't think they actually want Houston. I think it's the same thing when it was beat LA when they beat the Clippers in the playoffs for the Timberwolves a couple years ago in the play-in game. Yeah, I mean, I'm not thinking of it as a rally cry. I'm thinking of it as fans with jubilation and maybe a couple $8, $10 ballpark beers in them, getting ready for what's going to start this weekend. But I'm not thinking of it as bulletin board material for you guys. At least I hope not. But should be interesting.
Yes,
you obviously don't know about the history with the We Want Houston, Brandon.
I don't.
Last year, Phillies fans did it. Yankees fans did it. And as soon as they found out, it was the
Seattle
rally
fans
cry
did it too, right?
to exit the playoffs. And so as soon as they found out that they were playing the Houston Astros, you would have these videos. And it's like if you're supposed to learn from history, right? So if you don't learn from history, you're a history teacher, Brett. If you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it.
Can I say one thing?
Yes.
Thanks. I hate it.
There you go.
Oh,
there you
man.
go. Well, I didn't realize you. Okay, I assumed you knew the context. I'm sorry, but yeah,
I should have. There's no, but the playoffs for me have not really been a thing for quite a while. If I can plead ignorance, no, I watched the playoffs and everything, but it just I was not as plugged into that. Now it's like, oh, guys, come on, show some awareness, some situational awareness. That's not good.
Yeah, definitely read the room. But Brandon, we do appreciate you coming in. We look forward to doing a full show talking about your starting pitchers, Duran, who is an amazing, just flame-throwing guy, Carlos Correa, Royce Lewis doing something no rookie's ever done, hitting 2 home runs in his first 2 career postseason at bats. So it's going to be an exciting show tomorrow night. Real quick, tell the people where they can find you on the socials, and that way they can check you out before we have our full show tomorrow.
Well, I'm on Twitter, but I wouldn't recommend, or X wouldn't recommend following me at Brandon_WARNE. And then if you just find me wherever you find your podcast for Locked On Twins, YouTube, all that fun stuff, like, subscribe, all that good jazz, because it's going to be a spirited series. I'm excited. I'm eager to see how the Twins measure up against another team who, playoff tested. Sometimes it's like the NBA season where you got to get through it to get to it. And that's what the Astros did this year. And I'm eager to see if the Twins can measure up.
All right. Yeah. We hope they can't, but that's just our honest opinion. And we'll talk more about this tomorrow. So thank you, Brandon. And when we get back, we'll have Jeff Michael from the Sports with Balls podcast. But Brett, this episode is brought to you by Sleeper.
That's right. The MLB playoffs are actually here, and which means the clock is ticking on your chance to win 100 times your money for daily fantasy baseball. Baseball has never been more exciting, and you can count on studs like Kyle Tucker, Yordan Alvarez, Royce Lewis, Bryce Harper. I mean, Mookie Betts, whoever you're rooting for, you can pick more or less on stats from these stars for home runs, hits, strikeouts, and more with the 100 times payout on Sleeper. Get your picks right, and you could win big. You can do this with your friends. You can create a group chat. It has a great group chat functionality. I've used it. It's fun. I've played a fantasy baseball league with ESPN Southwest Louisiana this last year. It was pretty fun. Use the promo code Locked On, and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms for details. Go to Sleeper today. And make sure you listen to the Astros play the Twins this Saturday, game 1 of the ALDS. We don't know the time yet, but you can catch all the hometown play calls with SiriusXM on the SXM app. Search Astros. And we've got our special guest co-host in tonight, Mr. Jeff Michael from the Sports with Balls podcast. Now, Jeff, tell everybody where they can find you and where they can find your show.
Just type in Sports with Balls, literally in any podcast arena and or social media site. Like when I got the name of the show, I couldn't believe it wasn't taken anywhere. And so, just type in Sports with Balls on podcast arenas and or social media. It's all there.
All right. So Brett and Jeff, I think that it's been kind of confirmed because of a concert later on in Baltimore that the Orioles are going to be playing the noon game. And you'll probably have the Braves be playing one of the later games than the Dodgers. So those are going to be probably night games. So it looks like the Astros will be probably getting the 3:30 game, the 3 o'clock game. And so that's probably better for a lot of our schedules anyway. But one day I would like to get the respect that and respect my authority and be able to get that primetime game. During ALDS.
My authority.
Look, the Astros have had plenty of primetime games because we've been in the ALCS and the World Series. So look, give us all those afternoon games you want, and we'll take the ALCS and the World Series games.
Don't quote me on that yet. We don't know for sure yet. So don't quote me on times.
Look, we already know. You're right. Like it's an afternoon game. Let's just be honest.
So here's the deal, Jeff. We haven't had you on before. I'm aware of who you are. We've interacted on X. We've had your co-host Lauren Leal on. She's phenomenal.
Sure.
But I want to get your take on this Astros team. This Astros team, I said from the beginning, was going to go through ups and downs that they've never seen before because 2022 is almost too perfect of a season that the law of averages were pitted against you this year. And now I didn't know in what form and how that would come about. And with the amount of injuries, slumps, dry runs that our offense went through, not being in first place except for maybe like 14 to 28 days, something like that, not even a full month of in first place. What is your take on this team, who they are and who they're going to be in this postseason?
Well, I don't think we even know who they are yet, really. We haven't had a complete team to play with almost the entire year, right? And I think that's why people got frustrated with Dusty. Look, does he roll some absolutely obnoxious lineups out there sometimes that we all get frustrated with? Yes. But this team is different than last year and way different than 2017 and way different than 19 because it's not stacked top to bottom. Look, in years prior to this, you could stick anybody anywhere. And it was an unbelievable lineup, and it was awesome. But this year, I don't think the lineup was like that. And then you add in all the injuries. It just got to where it was a plug and play situation for Dusty. And look, did we lose some games that we probably should have? Yes. Like 100%. It was a tough end of the season for us. Those games against Kansas City and Oakland were brutal because this should have been locked up a long time ago. But at the end of the day, they did win the division, and you got to get them credit where credit is due, right? So the Astros, I don't think we know exactly who they are yet, right? So Justin Verlander, what version of Verlander are we about to see? You know, there's a huge issue there with a lot of people on playoff Verlander, right? And Fromber's been less than stellar over the last month or so. So, you know, can he get back to his form? Because if he can, look, the Astros have a chance to go back to the World Series.
Yeah, and I think it all depends on that consistent play, and that's what we've been talking about on podcasts. I said that's the biggest thing the Astros have to do. They have to play consistent baseball, and I know that that Dana Brown was on Sports Talk 790 today, and he mentioned that the Astros have what it takes to win the World Series, but he said that their sight was on the division the whole time, and they were not worried. But he did kind of throw some more shade a little bit at Dusty Baker. And he did say he just hopes that he puts out the best lineup. And that best lineup we know is likely going to not have Yainer Diaz in there, even though it should have in there. But as we saw as example, the last 6 games, Brett and I talked about this yesterday, that was the playoffs. That was the first round for Houston Astros. You had to play to get in. All these teams are playing right now. They're playing to get in, but the Astros had to play to get into this bye week. And so who was starting every game at catcher? It was Martin Maldonado. So that was a framework for what we're going to see. And if you're going to have Michael Brantley start every day at DH, and you're going to have Alvarez in left field, you're going to have some combination of Chaz or Dubon in center field. There's no place to play Diaz. Nope. And unfortunately, he's just going to be a bat off the bench.
Yeah. Can we play on the road too? All these games? That'd be fantastic.
Yeah. Someone said, can we just flip the series to start in Minnesota? Yeah, look, well, here's the thing, Jeff. I need to know before Saturday because I don't want to be driving to the stadium and then go, oh, by the way, they're at Target Field. But just like you had talked about with their interview with Dana Brown on 790, Alvarez has no limitations and expects to be in left field every single game. No limitations, which is weird because he was limited. And, you know, Yordan Alvarez, let me ask you about him. He is somewhat of an anomaly when it comes to injury. I don't want to say he's injury prone, but it seems like these injuries creep up and kind of pop up out of nowhere because he will be going really hot. And then you hear something, and then he kind of like leaves for a few days, kind of like Dennis Rodman. You know how Dennis Rodman just disappeared from the Bulls.
Yeah, that wasn't injury-wise, though.
Yeah, well, yeah. You know, Jordan's not going for a weekend to Vegas, right?
Yeah.
But my point is, it just seems like you never know when he's gonna be there or when he's not gonna be there. And I told Eric, I was like, if this guy played 150, 155 games in the season, MVP. This guy would be averaging 45, 50 home runs a season. You know, he's got 30 home runs the first 3 years. How important is it for Yordan Alvarez to come out swinging in this series?
This one, I don't know as much as the next series, right? Like this, okay. I think we kind of overpower the Minnesota Twins, and I'm not trying to be, you know, just like because I'm a massive Astros fan. I just think we do. I think we're a lot better team, and we've won without Yordan a lot this season. And look, let's be honest. When he starts running really hard, we're all holding our breath. It's like, because you don't know. Like, you're just like, oh, please don't slide. Please don't break a pinky, like something like, oh, no. So him in left field scares the hell out of me, too. Like, I'd rather him just be DH and get up there and swing. But he seems to get hurt swinging the bat as well. Like, we see this and we're like, what the heck? Like, Yordan, he can put the team on his shoulders with a couple of swings. Like, it's unbelievable. He can change the series. So, yeah, I think he's absolutely important to this team in the long run through these playoffs. This series, maybe not so much. I mean, remember last year, it was Yordan in Seattle, right? Like we had to have him in that series, or else who knows, we might still be playing a couple of games. Like, I don't even know. But I like Yordan a lot, but Kyle Tucker to me seems to be the key to this offense. All right, so RBI leader in the American League this year, up there with the MVP talks. Like, of course, you're not going to beat out a couple of those guys, but Tucker is amazing, and he's kind of overshadowed by Yordan, and I think that Tucker is the key to this offense. I love his bat.
Yeah, and I think he needs to come alive. I know he went through a little slump for a while there, but he seems to be back. That triple call where it was a home run and then wasn't a home run. I know he's going to appeal that, but that kind of sucks. And just to mention this, the Rangers moved on. You had the Twins move on. It looks like the Phillies are on the way to moving on, and the Diamondbacks are on their way to moving on. So all the teams that got their first win are moving on in wild card series. So my friend at work, he won't leave me alone until I mention this. He thinks that Bruce Bochy, and that's what he calls him, and the Rangers had a conspiracy that they let the Astros win AL West so they can have home field advantage. And they knew they could take care of the Blue Jays. So they're like, oh, we can take care of the Blue Jays. The Astros can't win at home. So let's go ahead and talk about why the playoffs in a second are different than the regular season at home. And by the way, Brett, this episode is brought to you by Bunches.
That's right. Okay, Locked On Astros fans, you may have heard us talk about this new app. And if you haven't heard about it right now, you need to download the Bunches app. We have a Locked On Astros Bunches, and you can ask the fans that are on there right now. I interact with them almost every single game. There is no politics, no doom and gloom. It's just sports. They've recently released a new scoreboard feature that lets you check live scores on the app and chat live while the games are happening. You can chat about the Astros. You can join the Locked On MLB Bunch. You can join our bunch. Just go to the Apple App Store and download Bunches right now. It's free. It's a fun sports chat app. There's a Locked On MLB group. There's a Locked On Astros group. Chat about your team every single day. Tell a personal story about your experience with Locked On MLB Bunch or Locked On Astros as a fan, and just post it. Come hang out. Download the app today. Go to Bunches, Locked On MLB Bunch. Check that out under the Discover tab. And you can also click on the link in the show description to join Locked On MLB today and Locked On Astros. So join Bunches today. And make sure that if you are not able to make it to the game, you need to go somewhere to watch the game. Well, go to Hooters. Why? Because Hooters makes you happy. Hooters has a location almost everywhere in town, from Galveston to Humble, from Katy to Pasadena, from Pearland to NASA. I mean, anywhere in between. They have got great wings. They've got great beer. And you just want to go check them out. $3 Blue Moon drafts daily, $9.99 Michelob Ultra pitchers. No matter the occasion, whether the Astros are playing, whether you're pre-gaming or post-gaming, go check them out, because every Thursday night, before the playoffs start for the Astros, Thursday, they have Thursday night football and then Thursday night karaoke. That'll be fun. When you go there, tell them Locked On Astros sent you. You'll get a free basket of fried pickles. Why? Because Hooters makes you happy.
And guys, I actually did this today. I was in the car doing a lot of driving while the Rangers were playing. And I was like, you know what? I wish I could listen to this game. So guess what? I went to SiriusXM and I searched Rangers for the first time in my life. And I actually listened to the game. And it sounded like they were crushing the Rays. And I got to hear it all thanks to SiriusXM. So if you want to catch all the play-by-play action this playoff starting on Saturday versus the Twins, go and download the SXM app and search Astros, and you can hear it just like I did. I'm not just reading this. I was actually doing it today. I was trying to find the second game, the Twins game, but they didn't have it. But I was listening to the Phillies game later, and it just like the Phillies just hit a grand slam, so now they're up 7-0.
Yeah,
that team scares me. I don't know what team I'm more scared about coming out of National League.
That Phillies Braves series is going to be amazing, man. Those are some great fans in Philadelphia and Atlanta. That series will be phenomenal, and you can guarantee that's on night. Every single game is at night. So yeah, the Astros will probably have day games.
You know, and there is a ton of stuff to talk about. And man, you know, heck, we'll have to have you back at some point during the playoffs, during this postseason as well. But there was a recent release of a new documentary
Right.
Ben Ryder, we actually had him on the show. Good guy, a professional guy, had him on the show. Eric sat down and watched the whole thing. I'll be honest, I watched 45 minutes and turned it off because I was like, okay, I'd listen to the podcast. I've talked to Ben. It's the same old stuff. I'm going to move on because I'll be real honest. Quite frankly, I'm sick and damn tired of this crap. I'm tired of talking about it. I'm tired of the topic. It's old. It's tired. It's like not just beating a dead horse. It's like taking the bones off of the carcass of the horse and dismantling each bone from the dead horse carcass. I'm sick and tired of it. But look, this is what I've learned. This is my conclusion. We know Houston cheated. We know Altuve didn't use the system. We know the buzzer thing was started by a bogus Twitter account that was promoted by Jumbo Media. And we know that everybody in the league pretty much was doing the same thing. It doesn't make it right. It's just what was happening. The Astros, the difference with the Astros and every other team is the Astros had someone that ratted them out. Nobody else did. And that's where I'm going to stand. But Eric, what did you think? Because you watched the whole thing. So you have a good objective opinion. What did you think about the documentary?
Well, I think this is the first time that Jeff Luhnow kind of really opened up about everything. And he still denies that he really had any knowledge of anything. And it's hard to believe that that's really the case. I mean, he was a very much of a micromanager from what we read. So he says that I still didn't know this. And I was as surprised as you were. I was up there. I was handling baseball operations and this was happening down there. But Anthony Padilla was the guy, I think he was a video monitor. And he was him and Tony Adams, the guy that really tracked all the stuff. They were the kind of stars of the documentary. And Anthony mostly kind of talked about his role with this. And he said that it was Beltran who came from another organization, which we knew about. And 2 months into season or something like that, Beltran just started struggling. And he's like, look, I came here to be a leader. I came here to help this team and I'm not. So let's try to use something that we've done in the past and try to do it here. And so they asked Anthony to install this TV by the dugout, and they go into the whole what happened and how it kind of transitioned to there. They went all the way to Danny Farquhar, whatever his name is, and where he realized that they were using trash can, and he said that's when they stopped. They got freaked out, panicked, and said that they stopped the whole system then, and they didn't use the trash can system after that. Not in the playoffs. So sorry, Dodgers. Sorry, Yankees. Sorry, Red Sox. They did not use the trash can thing in the playoffs. So they went ahead and also interviewed the old commissioner, and he basically said that if it was up to him, he would have banned every one of the Astros players, every one of the Astros managers, anybody associated with the Astros, he would have banned them for life. But he said Rob Manfred, instead of going for the players, he went for the team. And he said it would have been too much to just go for a team. But all in all, I thought it was relatively fair. So I think that Tony Adams, to his credit, that he tries to really point out the fact. I don't know if this was only in Houston, but I think he does a fair job of trying to show that, hey, Jose Altuve, he had limited to no involvement in this. And so he kind of talked about that. So I know everybody's probably sick and tired of it, but it wasn't as bad as I tried to read that book by a certain writer. You know what book I'm talking about. I couldn't get past a certain page, but that was actually not bad because you got to see a little bit behind the scenes type action. I don't know, Jeff, if you had a chance to watch it yet.
No, but I also I have feelings towards it as well, just like you guys do. Just like those of y'all that are tuning in on YouTube, by the way, awesome job with all your comments. It's absolutely phenomenal. But I do believe that did Baseball Uncover all of it, not even close. I think maybe 10% of it. Let's blame the Astros and let's move on. That was baseball's narrative, like, right? Like, so it got out there. Let's blame the Astros. Let's try to move on as quickly as possible. And with that came the entire nation blaming the Astros for absolutely everything. Do we know the other 90% of what went on? No. The banging trash cans, imagine what the other teams were probably doing. It wasn't trash cans. Maybe it was sticks on benches. Maybe it was this. Maybe it was cameras. Maybe it was, I mean, look, there's all kinds of stuff, and we can keep going down that rabbit hole if you want to. But look, the Astros they've been to 5 ALCSs. Like they're not cheating. This team was good. It was very, very good. So if you want to sit there and say, all right, look, the 2017 Astros cheated, I kind of understand that. I get it. If the Yankees did it, I believe that us as Astros fans would probably be flipping out just like everybody else is. So,
right.
You know, I get it. Like, put a little asterisk, find it or buy it, that's fine. But 2022, 2019, 2020, 2017 or 2018, like, dude, these teams were amazing. So look, the talent is there. We're back in the playoffs this year, and if we get over there again, can we finally put this to rest? Like, all right, like, fine, we get it, you guys, but dude, the Astros have been pretty close to a dynasty for the past 5-6 years as you can get.
Yeah. And Brett, one more thing I just remembered. He also said, Anthony Padilla said that Beltran seemed to have more control of the team than AJ Hinch did.
Yeah, well,
you know what? I see that. And you know what? You left out the team he came from. He came from the New York Yankees.
Yep.
We know where this started. We know where this came from. So, look, at the end of the day, no matter what goes on, fans are going to follow the narrative they want to follow. Right. Truth doesn't matter in our day and time. Agenda matters and feelings matter. We are a society driven by feelings, not by facts. And when something makes us feel good, putting someone down, canceling someone, that's the horse we ride. It doesn't matter if what we feel is grounded in fact or not. That's how I feel. And you've heard this term before. It's my truth. It's your truth. Well, kids, I'm here to tell you something. There is truth. There is a truth. There is not 3 truths about one thing. There is one truth. And black or white, you know what? When I believe in absolutes, what the Astros did was wrong. What any other team did was wrong. Bottom line, it doesn't excuse it, but it also is not just a Houston problem. But hey, look, I would love to continue on and on about all this stuff. But,
hours.
But you know, Jeff, we do thank you for joining our show, and we'll definitely have you back when we get more time on the horn with you. You did a great job. Phenomenal. Y'all make sure you follow his Sports with Balls podcast. Go check him out. I know he does live shows here and there. So yeah, man, support you all the way. We appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thank you guys.
All right, guys, that's all we got that's all we got for this edition of the Locked On Astros podcast. Tomorrow we'll be back with a kind of more of a preview with Brandon on the Astros versus Twins. This is happening, y'all. Carlos Correa is coming back to Houston, not playing for Houston Astros, but the Houston Astros are going to learn how to play at Minute Park again. I guarantee it. I think if y'all come out there rocking, they'll come out a knocking. So let's go ahead and play some baseball, and we'll see you on Saturday. And go Stros.
Go Stros.